the Maono PD100X. Awesome RGB, flary looking RGB. Looks like the entire body of this microphone pretty much lights up, and you can control those effects to make the mic look any color you like. So yeah, it's gonna be quite flashy. We're gonna see what this microphone is all about. Let's do the unboxing right here in your face because, well, there's probably not much in this, just the microphone and stand and cables. Let's do it. Opening the box up in all of our little faces, right? We get, open it up and don't let nothing fall out. We get our instructions right on top, as it should be, because you wanna know how to set up your microphone, how to use it, what the features are, what the specifications are, because I always get a lot of questions and criticism about what's the specifications on this. Look at the manual online. There's plenty of places to look for the specs on devices that already exist. All right, but I'll give you a little bit of idea of what the specs are. For all of my spec heads out there, we want to know what this microphone is capable of. And well, here it is, the specifications. Go ahead and pause it, take a screenshot so that we can know what this microphone is capable of delivering. And looking at the audio profile there, looks like we get pretty decent high ends, right where the vocals are. There's a little bit of a pickup there, so interested in seeing what that sounds like. Seeing, not hearing. What? 24-bit richness, so let's not sleep on the PD100X. The PD400X, $120, $130, $40 microphone also is 24-bit, but just packed with just a little bit more features. Sliding it out of the plastic right here, and we have a nice, wow, what kind of body is this? Look at this microphone here, Techies and Gamers. This is a almost like a translucent kind of look with this microphone, and that means this bad boy is going to light up quite bright. Only one knob there on the front, a little mute button, and on the back nothing else, just some information. And along the bottom, of course, we're going to have our awesome USB-C as well as XLR port, 3.5mm jack for audio monitoring your audio. Notice there is a nice little logo on the side with Maono, quite sleek and cool. And then there's one on the black there in case you don't see the white one. All right, do you hear that? Wow, they went to great lengths to make sure that there is no clicky button. They learned their lesson from the Maono PD200X, which has a very loud clicky button here for switching between your monitoring and your gain audio. Ooh, and the button itself clicks on every notch. Nice, pretty nice button here. I'm liking this button. Not a big fan of a lot of buttons on microphones, but this is kind of cool, and it kind of offsets a lot of this translucent white color here. Oh, wait, they learned their lesson again. Not a clicky mute button. This is a touch sensitive button. This little singular arm profile here, which tends to be a little bit popular, is made of metal, and this little notch right here, you can tighten it, but it doesn't over tighten, so you can kind of just move it, but it's not gonna wobble. Last but not least, the capsule. Right, now let's look at that capsule closely. I said. The capsule is all the way up into the front edge of that grill. So be sure that you don't put this directly in your face, because you may get some plosives based off of how close that capsule is. And it looks like pretty significant size as well. So you're going to get some pretty decent audio, I predict. Okay, USB cable, which, whoa, this cable looks pretty long. I'm going to untie this because some people get frustrated that I don't show the full length of the cables. How long is your cable? I tell them it's 6 feet. I don't know if they bypass that information, but hey, we're humans, right? We have impatience, even myself. All right, this cable is longer than my arm length to edge, so you're getting probably about a 6-foot cable here. You have some USB options here, which is fantastic. Works for, especially for MacBooks now, they all just completely USB-C. Last thing left here is the stand. Not very heavy. I guess maybe it doesn't need to be heavy since it is a very light mic. So, okay, for those who only have a 3/8 or just a 5/8 inch tread Boom arm, it comes with an adapter, so this will accommodate 3/8 to 5/8 inch. This microphone here takes both 3/8 as well as 5/8 inch screw tread there, so this should accommodate just about any and every mic boom arm that's out there. Here we are with the PD100X mounted, and this is kind of what you're gonna get out of this microphone in terms of visual appearance, right? So right off the rip, I have, just so that you know what audio settings, what profile I have going, I got it all maxed out. I got it super loud on my PC, and I have it maxed out 100% on the microphone via USB. For the most part, it sounds okay. I'm going to drop the audio down a little bit. Now, what's cool about this USB microphone is that the gain levels can be seen on the top of this microphone. You have LED indicators, about, I don't know, was about 6 lights or so, that lets you know when or where your audio is at in terms of gain, how high it is. Just so that you know what color is gain. Gain is white, right? So you know you're on the gain mode when you're in white, and then when you click the button in, the click is not so bad. You can kind of see it there on the camera, how it's switching now. That's gain. I dropped it down a little bit, so it's about 3 or 4 dots. 3 dots, and if I switch it, the monitoring are blue lights. So the light turns from white for gain, blue for monitoring audio. Now, I will say, looking at levels here in OBS, Open Broadcast Studio, it's not clipping. I get into the high yellow, tap the red a little bit, but haven't heard any clipping yet. We'll see when we do some plosives. Mute. I love that the mute is touch sensitive here on the front. So tapping mute will turn your light indicators red. So you have white, blue, and then red for mute. All right, here we are with the microphone on our left side, which is probably a better way to have it because you can see, well, your viewers now can see the microphone, and this microphone is meant to be flashy. It's RGB. You want viewers to see it. Otherwise, why would you really have RGB? It's for showing off, basically. That capsule is quite close to the front end of that grill in the microphone. So let's see with what plosives sound like. Here we go. Ooh, my neck cracked when I did that. What the hell? Peter Piper picked a pack of Pepsis, popped them, poured them into a pitcher profusely. And I can hear those peas popping profusely when I blow directly into it like this at this proximity. And, well, it sounds a little poppy. What? Let's blow away from it. Here we go. Peter Piper picked a pack of Pepsis, popped them, poured them into a pitcher profusely. Of course, the wind is not hitting it, blowing away from it. Sounds good, but I also noticed that there's a little bit of hissiness to it. So my voice, I think my teeth, something wrong with it. Sibilance test. Here we go. Caesar ate a salad by the seashore with Susan in a sauna. Wow, that's a little bit hissy there. I hear it. It may not be so much for you because your S's may come out differently than mine. I have like a whistle. I don't know what's wrong with me. Sibilance away from the microphone. Here we go. Caesar ate a best. My lips are dry. I can't do it without lipstick. What? Caesar ate a salad by the seashore with Susan, and it was sexy with Superman. A little better. My S's and my S's still a little bit squeaky because, I don't know, maybe it's that gap I got right there. Noise rejection, right? So right now, I know over XLR, I think it picks up everything. But USB, it's doing a good job at doing some noise suppression. I have no filters going on this microphone or on, well, I'm not using the mixer because I can't via USB. And it's doing a good job. Those fans I got going, not very noticeable, not very audible. Can you hear it? Very slight, not much. Okay. Let's see what it sounds like talking away from the microphone. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Of course, my audio is bouncing all over the walls here, so it's going to go right back into the front capsule. But not so bad, speaking at 90 degrees and 180 degree noise rejection. Noise rejection. Noise rejection. Noise rejection. So cardioid, more polarized towards the front side, so that's kind of where you want to speak into it. A little bit of that noise handling, a little bit, because it's the plastic, I think, kind of rubbing and
grating against my skin. What? It sounds crazy.
Excuse the audio. I just wanted to get this focused specifically on the microphone so that you can see RGB and we can go through some of those settings. All right, so I'm just gonna click here through it. A gradation of colors, right? You can see the colors just moving through every color in the spectrum. Solid orange, solid green. You got a little bit of a blue here. Look, somewhat of a light blue. You got a cool pink. And then you have off. And then it cycles back to the multicolored gradations.
Honestly, I kind of like that blue. I'm stuck between that blue and that pink. Let's go here. Okay, this is very cool. Let's go ahead and switch over to XLR and see if we're gonna get that money's worth in terms of audio. USB, meh. I feel that way mostly with most microphones, so it's fine. USB, you will get away with it, and the audio is going to be pretty crystal clear, a little bit of muffly, lack of bass, but otherwise it's pretty good on the mid-tones capturing your vocal audio. But let's go ahead and switch over to XLR in 1, 2, 3. The full-fledged blast of the XLR mode. All filters off, noise suppression off, and lots of noise. And you can hear my voice way back here. Okay, so you're gonna get some good pickup. Okay, so let me drop that gain down a little bit, see if we can get some decent audio here. So we dropped it down a little bit, but there is some noise happening here. Very slightly, because, well, this is kind of a thing I expect with XLR. So if you're gonna use XLR, make sure your room is somewhat treated. You don't have a lot of noise going, and you're gonna get really fantastic audio. Listening to the proximity effect of this audio, it sounds good. I hear it, and I hear it well. Not a lot of bass, again, in XLR. A little bit more than in USB, but otherwise, it sounds very, very rich, especially picking up on those high ends. Pretty crispy view. ASMR technique. These gamers, if you want to do ASMR, you can do that. Let's go ahead and switch over to here, and we're going to apply those filters back to the Maono AM100, right? Filters, and let's turn all that on just like that, and even noise suppression. Now we're getting somewhere with audio. Where did that noise go? Let's see. It went to nowhere. You don't have it anymore. You may hear instances of it creeping in as I'm speaking, but otherwise the noise rejection is now in effect because of the noise suppression. This is kind of what you're going to get in terms of proximity with some filters, some compression limiter, noise suppression in a kind of a loud room the way I have. This is the audio quality. Microphone check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Caesar ate a salad by the seashore with Susan and Superman in a sauna. Peter popped a Pepsi with his pickles. What is that? I lost track of what I was saying. Peter Piper picked a pack of Pepsis, popped them, poured them into a pitcher. That's what I meant to say. What? There's one more important thing to note. And does this work with the MonoLink software via USB? That will make the difference, if it does, in terms of the USB quality and heightening up that USB quality from its mid kind of sound signature to what it could potentially be. I don't know. Let's look at that right now. There are only a number of Maono microphones that work with the MonoLink app. This is now included as one of them. So be happy because, well, in USB, it's okay. It's sounding pretty flat, but with the application, you could potentially make this thing sound much better. Now, I want to see what features they've included in this application. So what I'm going to do is make a switch over to the app, and we're going to take a look at what this thing can do with this microphone, right? What the app can do with the mic. So let's go ahead and connect this to our computers, right? On our Mac, our PC, and you will see that the application identifies your microphone, and you can just click in. Oh, that's a nice high fidelity image there. Click into your PD100X RGB. It stresses as RGB. I mean, you can't deny it. It's almost 50% RGB. And we are now in the application right here in our face in standard mode. And well, Let's just go really quickly through what the standard mode can actually do. Now, lighting linkage is something I have not seen with other Maono products. That's right. So other microphones. So I am interested in seeing what that is. If I hover over this question mark, linkage, mute will automatically turn off RGB lights. So if you mute it, I guess your RGB lights will go off. On linkage, the RGB lights will not change with mute. Okay, so let's link that and let's see what happens when I. That is right. And if I turn that off and okay, so that's a good indicator that it's muted, I guess, because sometimes you don't know it's muted and it's a touch sensitive mute button. So if you click it, it goes on mute. You can't really tell. There is an indicator on the top, but it's like to the back. You'd have to lean over it and look at it. I guess depending on which way your microphone is oriented, you may not see that. So it's an option there for you in case you need that. Now, right now we are at 100%, and in my ears, the monitoring is in real time, and it sounds okay. It's somewhat of a flat EQ, more or less. Pretty loud. I would probably drop it down to 92-ish, so you don't kind of clip all the way up. If I go any louder, I can go into the red, so maybe 90 is good. We'll leave it right here, 92. Headphone volume mic monitoring. So you can have that on or off. If I turn it off, I cannot hear myself now, but I'm going to keep it on because I want to hear myself. And this is the volume of monitoring. There we go. We maxed it out. And ooh, this volume is high now that I can have my monitoring up high. Let's keep it at 90. All right, moving down, we have some tone options. This is going to apply some EQ presets, so to speak, in a standard mode. So let's just see what the deep sounds like. And oh, it definitely made it deeper and sounds a little bit more cloudy. But if this is your kind of voice, then this works for you. Wow, that echo, that bass is rumbly. Original, we just had it on that. Out of box experience. Natural brings up a little bit of that high end, a little bit of that brightness. Ooh, hear a little bit of that crispiness too, leaning towards that XLR kind of crispiness. But it probably also will introduce hissing. Peter Piper picked up. Wait, that's the wrong. That's popping. What? Caesar ate a salad with Susan. Yeah, I can hear that S's, but it sounds decent outside of that hissing. Legacy. Ooh, very cloudy. I don't like Legacy at all. Yeah, it's very muddy. Original sounds not too far from Legacy, but it's better than the Legacy version. Legacy introduces a little bit of bass, so I'm going to keep it on natural because I like the way that kind of sounds. RGB, you can turn that on or off. Turns off your mic. RGB colors, lights. What? This is cool. This is something you can do on board with the onboard button on the microphone itself. Control the brightness of the lights. Right now, I've never touched the RGB brightness adjustments. So out of box, this is what you get. A 40% brightness. Okay, I don't know if by launching a software that did that, but this is basically what it looked like previously. I haven't seen any difference. But I can bump up that brightness. Wow, it probably makes it look white. Switching cameras, you can see how much brighter it has gotten. And the thing with having super bright lights or RGB in your shots, if you're using it for recordings, is that you lose the colors. It gets kind of blown out by the brightness of the lights. So let's go back and lower the brightness a little bit. I'm going to bring it down to maybe 25 or 20. Pretty dim in my eyes in front of me. You can now see the color green, and I wonder how low I can go before you can actually see a better saturated version of green on camera here. It's a pretty nice bright green there, but let's go even lower. Right now I have, wow, that's okay. That's 0. Let's put it on 10, right? Very dim in front of me, but on camera, it looks a little bit brighter, but you're losing a little bit of that color on the top right here. It looks a little gray, so not bright enough. So I guess maybe, I don't know, 25 is probably good. It looks good right there. We also have static options. We can do pulse. There we go. It looks like we have to click the color again for it to work. And right now we have a slow pulsation of color, and then we can go dynamic. And then, wow, okay, so we have 3 levels of dynamic RGB. Pretty cool. Oh, look at that. This is probably something you haven't seen yet with a review of the PD100X. You'll see that in the app, you can actually change the dynamic mode of the way the mic lights up. Oh, this is telling you the level meter of the audio of your microphone. So at least the RGB here has some functionality. So as I'm talking and I'm looking at my levels there on the top, I see that it's kind of dipping into the orange. And when I talk on the mic, you can see my level meter there. Kind of cool. I don't know how true and accurate this light up of color is, but it's nice to have that and see it in your shot. So this looks like it's the gist of all the standard stuff on the Maono app. Let's switch over to advanced. And in advanced, we're going to have couple of settings that are the same and a lot of different things going on at the bottom, which is cool. This is with the latest update of the Maono application. You're going to see a few new things if you've been using this app that now have been included. Obviously, you have your gain control, but what you lose here is the ability to mute, as you have in the standard on your left side. Obviously, we have our monitoring on and off. And then we have some EQ settings here that is not included with any onboard buttons like the Maono PD100X, which has a button to cycle through all of these modes. And well, this is a flat mode, so that's the quality. And then we can switch it over to high pass filter, which is dropping off the low end, which is going to be your bass levels, and you're going to have your vocals and higher ends just probably right where they're at, have it moved, or maybe they've brought it up a little bit. You can't really see the EQ profile when you click these, so you just kind of got to assume that this is what it looks like. And then we have presence boost, which is going to boost your presence of the midtones, which are mostly your vocal tones, which is good for speaking, for a lot of speaking like I'm doing now. And then you have presence boost plus high pass filter, boosts up those midtones, presence boost, but drops off some of the lower tones. The bass, you can't really hear any of that bass so much. I don't typically like this so much. Unless your microphone itself is really boomy, then you would need that. But for this microphone, you might need a little bit more bass introduced here because the mic doesn't have so much low end bass levels. All right, moving right along. Limiter, compressor, and noise gate, which is a newer included feature with this application. So limiter, obviously, you can limit the amount of clipping that will happen if the microphone is loud. I put a little bit of limiter just to prevent it from clipping or going too loud. Helps me in post-production. Compressor, same as well, helps me in post-production. All right, and then we have noise at the bottom, which is a noise gate, not noise suppression. All right, and right now it's at the standard mode. I think it's kind of okay for the most part. I hear the noise in the background drop off. Very quiet, but as I'm talking, you're going to get the ambient noise. Some of it anyway is going to leak into it, and it seems like it's at a pretty good level of attack. Not bad. Okay. There aren't any custom options here like with the Maono PD100X. There is a 3-dot ellipses here that you can click, and it will allow you to customize each one of these limiter, compressor, and noise. So, but here you have to go with the default and just stick with your sliders, which is fine. And right here, it seems like it's okay. I feel like the front end of it is getting a little bit cut off. Okay, so right here, the noise gate is practically off. And as you go up, you got to listen for the noise dropping off. Okay, right here, the noise has dropped off significantly, which is good, but it also picks up my voice in good time. I think for this microphone right now, 23 is the optimal level for noise gate if you are going to apply a noise gate, because it does a good job at dropping off the audio enough when you stop talking. So let's look at custom EQ. Maybe we can make this bad boy sound a little bit better. So clicking into that, you go into a standard mode of EQ, right? Equalizer. You can turn it off or turn it on if you like. So right now we have it on, but it's on a flat mode. So obviously the far end, right, is your high ends, and we can take that, drag it up, and you can hear how high and crispy. Woo, those hisses though. So you may not want to bump that too high, because then that becomes super annoying in your ears. I probably wouldn't touch this too much, and I wouldn't drop it down because then you probably get a little bit muddiness. But you kind of subdue that hissing, which is kind of good. So let's keep that right about there, just a little bit below mid-range. -42 dB sounds pretty decent. Midtones, that should bring up the vocal tones. It sounds kind of crazy. I wouldn't use this because it sounds like 1942 radio, black and white TV. Did TV come out in 42? Probably. And if you drop it down, well, you just lose that midtone. It sounds a little bit muddy and cloudy. So let's just keep it here at 0 dB. And on the far left, theoretically, I guess this is the low end. So let's see if I bump that up. Oh, yeah. Drummy, bassy voice. So something this microphone is kind of missing, which is that bass. So coming in at 0 dB, the way it comes in out of box is kind of lacking in that bass. So if you need a little bit more bass, you can drop it in right here, which kind of sounds good. But I think the real juice in this is going to the advanced tab. And then here you'll have more options, and you have a little bit more of the higher end here on the far right. You get those hisses. I would drop that down just ever so slightly down here. Get those S's out of your sound, right? The hissing, the sibilance. Then you can bump up a little bit of the high end and not have to worry about the hissing so much, right? Drop the hissing off, bring up the high end to bring up that brightness in your voice, vocal tones. Sounds a little bit more open. In USB, then we'll go a little bit more towards the mid-tone, the mid-range, and you can bring up your vocals a little bit again. You probably don't want to open it up that much, right? So let's drop that down a little bit, and you don't want to drop it down too much because then you lose that. So let's bring it up a little bit here just to get a little bit more brightness out of this microphone. Sounds okay. I don't mind this audio at all. Then you're just directly in the middle here, which will sound crazy, bringing that up and dropping it down. I think this should stay somewhere in the middle right here. It sounds fine, and far end sounds a little cloudy. So this sounds okay here at 0 dB as well. We won't touch that. Now you're getting into the more bass levels here on the far left. And now you can bump up that bass level, a little bit of the drumminess, right? But you don't want to introduce too much because then it gets a little hummy. And you don't want too much hum in your audio. And then we got the boomy bass. Ooh, without even talking. You hear that? Hear that vibration? Probably too much. Okay, right here. Okay. So we can introduce a little bit of bass levels here, which the mic is missing more or less. And this is the audio quality with just a little bit of bass introduced. And to stick the settings, you will click confirm, and now your settings on the mic itself are set in the app and on the mic. So if I close the application, the settings will stay, including the RGB settings I have right here. The settings have stayed even though I completely X'd out of the application because, well, it seems to have applied it on a programmatic hardware level here. Nice and loud and bright. Probably a little too loud. I can probably reduce the gain on this a little bit just by going down like that. Drop down the gain a little bit, and we can kind of moderate our noise floor with the hardware gain this way. You don't want to use this microphone close range in USB mode because then you get this muddy, distorted sound. You don't want to talk too loud into your mic like this because it sounds a little bit crazy and you get that distortion, and I can see I'm way up in the red. So now with our audio in USB sounding pretty decent, there is some noise in the background. I don't have any noise suppression or noise gate, so you hear ambient noise, wind tunnel in my closet over there because it's a portal to another world. What? I'm going to apply a noise suppression filter because we want to kill out some of that noise. A count of 3 is going to be some noise suppression. 1, 2. Noise has been canceled. And this is the quality with some EQ adjustments, limiter compression, and all that stuff done in the Monolink app applied. Close the app, and it's now stuck on the microphone. And this is the profile going forward with this mic. If you're just going to be using it via USB, the Monolink app is a must, I think, with this microphone. Nice customization with your audio. Definitely nice customization with RGB. You can kind of make it go beyond what the button can do on the mic itself. So kudos to that. But I think this microphone, for all intents and purposes, is great. It's not for singing or for getting good quality with your instruments, probably not even through XLR. I've seen this microphone take some heat online by some reviewers, and I was interested in seeing, is that true? Were they even using it right? Did they try to make customizations to make this microphone sound better? Right? You can do that with most microphones, whether USB or XLR. And there was a lot of heat about the USB mode, but you guys tell me out there, what does this USB audio sound like with a little bit of customization with the Monolink app? Do you think the quality is good, even with a little bit of noise suppression? Right now, my HVAC is going, and does that really interfere with the audio? Do you even hear it? Probably not, because I don't see my levels moving. So I don't know. You got to be careful who you trust out here with reviews and really demoing and testing microphones to their fullest potential right here. So if this audio sounds good in USB and based off of the XLR you heard, then I have to say this microphone makes a pass. I think it sounds pretty good once you get it under control. Like a wild horse, you get in the wild, you got to tame it and make it do your bidding. It's kind of the same thing with a lot of microphones out there. It's not that they're bad out of box. Maybe a lot of them are. This one out of box isn't great at all. But once you start making those fine tune adjustments, you can make this microphone out of box trash, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. But customization, you can make it shine. So that's all I'm saying. Be careful who you trust and what you listen to online. All right, I think I rambled on enough, made my point. I'll see you in the next video. And if you want to get this microphone, links are in the description. With that, I will see you in the next video, next life. Actually, no, I'm gonna live forever. What?